Well, hello people, and welcome back to part 3 of the Manor Lords Survival Guide, our tutorial Let's Play series. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Now, welcome back everyone. I cannot get enough of this game in the minute. It's a ton of fun, isn't it? And a wonderful way to start a video, right? With the third person walk around the town. I really wish I could do this in City Skylines. It would be tremendous, wouldn't it? But either way, the Lord's Manor is getting built as it was where we left off last episode, just putting in some new turrets and some new towers over there as well. And today I think we're also going to upgrade the storehouse over here as well, because this is starting to fill up a little bit. You'll notice it doesn't look that full at the minute, but stone, logs, iron ore and bows are beginning to fill this up. So we need to do that today as well. And we should also defend against our first raid today as well. They're only 112 days away now for our first raiding party to arrive. We're also running a little bit low on the old firewood here at the minute, aren't we? We are indeed. We've only got 2 months left. Food isn't too bad at all. Those berries are really kicking in now because we have the rich berry deposit. And those eggs also starting to make themselves known that we've been upgrading with everyone's burgage plots over here as well. So today we'll continue to move through the opening of the game, and we're going to start out by actually upgrading our storehouse, which is going to cost 5 logs and 10 planks. So we'll get that done there. It is starting to fill up a little bit now, so just better to prep that in advance. And we also are starting to dwindle a little bit of market space. This one here now is full, this market, and this one only has 3 locations left available. So I definitely want to keep everything in the town kind of focused around this main square here. I really want this to develop into our town centre, I guess. So let's draw in some more roads here, and I think this is where we'll put down some more marketplace functionality. So let's come into this. We're going to grab our marketplace here, and let's pretty much, I think, just fill this square. That's going to be enough for 14 markets. That's going to be a pretty substantial space. And don't you just love how the roads expand based on how much use they would get? It's an incredibly clever road system, isn't it? Very nice indeed. But it's a horrible autumn day here in the town, which we do need to name, by the way. If you would like to name this province we're in, please do get some suggestions down below. I'm more than happy to have you guys name what goes on here. But either way, let's have a look at some deficiencies at the minute. So our woodcutter people aren't particularly producing lots at the minute. So we just want to make sure that their work area really is perhaps a little more focused. Why don't we tell them to start trimming down this forest here? Because we're going to need to start cutting this down soon to expand all these houses over here. And I think at this point we've got plenty of food, so I reckon we can start to sustain a slightly larger population. So I'm going to draw some more burgage plots in. I'm just going to keep them in my generic town frames here. But of course I want them facing this road here. And this shouldn't be too bad. I'm not going to get any back gardens on these ones, but that's okay. I'm happy for some density to appear over here, I suppose. And then I think with further upgrades, we'll keep going over this way once we need them. I'd also like to just carry on expanding our town road network, definitely around the back of the castle here. Let's connect this in. And then certainly up toward the back of the church here as well. Let's have all this go around, and that should be good for right there. Also connect in here as well, and just try and create any desire lines where you would definitely expect to see them, shortcuts that people would take across the plains and the fields. That should be okay there. Let's have a little look at our Lord's Manor get built up, shall we? It should be really cool once we get these new additions in. Allow us to also defend the town as well, because of course the garrison town we've placed in does allow for a 10 garrison space, which is quite nice. We'll see our storehouse get an upgrade here as well. Hopefully while we continue to earn some more regional wealth via the trade pool as well. Here's one of our traders now again. So there's 2 traders in here at the minute, isn't there? There we go, drop off their goods. And away they go. Although there's nothing in here for them to trade at the minute. Hopefully that will continue to happen as time goes on. And fantastic. Would you look at that? Some nice new beefy infrastructure for the town. A big manor. I always want to say it's a big manor lord. It's just a symptom of playing the game, I think. But the big lord's manor over here is how we should really word that. It is now starting to look pretty suave, isn't it? New storehouse over here as well. Much more official looking. So really starting to upgrade some of that key infrastructure. We've also got generic storage over here. That shouldn't be full anyway. That should start to dwindle down anyway. And then we do also have some requirements not met over here as well, yeah. The food supply is dwindling a little bit. So we've had another ruler's army sighted. These are just some further mercenaries from the other lord that we can currently undertake diplomacy with. He is just marauding around the land. We are not yet at war with him. In terms of just looking over the landscape, we can really see our village start to grow out over here now, can't we? And we do have a bandit camp over in Ziwao, or Ziwu. I don't know how to pronounce this at all. It's very old Germanic language, but it could be worth expanding over there, which is probably where we'll head at some point anyway. I wonder if we can't draw from here, can I? No, we can't. I would certainly like to start planning in some roads to start heading that way, though. So why don't we start bringing this down here? We'll eventually meet up with the King's Road. Yeah, and then we can essentially use those as frames at a later date to just keep mapping the expansion of our town along. Imagine one will also run down this way. Then also like to follow those topography lines there as well. And see if we can just create some further established road networks over here to run. Definitely one from there to there as well, I think would be a nice one to have. Let's start making it a little bit more efficient for people to get around here. We're also hooked into the King's Road down here, aren't we? I bet we could also justify a connection there as well, I think. Cool. We do have a couple of disapprovals at the minute. This is just because we've upgraded to level 2. And they're not going to leave. They are complaining of food store availability, actually. So let's have a little look into this. Let's see what we can give them. So there's one food stall, 2. Interesting, we actually have multiple food stalls, but for some reason they're not overly enamored with us. I bet this is just because they're maybe a little too far away from the market. Yeah, they do lose their approval and then they gain it back again, so I think maybe just upgraded a little bit too soon, but we should be okay. They're certainly not going to leave anyway. But we definitely want to get this approval back up above 50% as well. Yeah, there we go. Now they have it back again. Yeah, at least one type of food in the market. Not sure what's going on there. You will have to give, I think, some leeway just to early access bugs. But they do have it anyway. And more of this storage. Telling us generic storage here is full, but it clearly isn't. There's still quite a bit left to go there yet, so it should be okay, I think. Although we do have... Yeah, there is timber being stored at the castle for some reason. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but I'm not complaining. At least it's closer than it is than the logging camp, I suppose. So hopefully they'll be able to keep bringing that around. We could also upgrade our granary here as well, which I think we will. We'll upgrade that there. It's going to give us more capacity, hopefully some more space for some more workers as well. We're also running into a little bit more of that regional wealth now, aren't we? So why don't we try vary up our food supply at the minute. So these guys have all got chickens. Do indeed. We could also add some vegetables, but this is dependent on the size of the lot, so I think I'd rather save vegetable upgrades for houses that are significantly bigger than these ones over here. So I think for right now, I'm just going to go ahead and throw down a couple more chicken coops while we have that spare regional wealth. This is only going to help keep increasing the egg supply to join our collection of berries and meat when we are actually hunting for meat at the minute, because our pack has dwindled quite significantly. So raiders are 76 days away now. This attack really isn't anything major, especially when you're defending your own town as well. Your troops are significantly stronger and more effective, so because they're the attacking force, they're going to have all the penalties. So our current roster of 20 spear militia and 20 archers, plus the 5 retinue, should be enough to defend the town. If you are feeling a little bit sort of nervous about it, you can go ahead and hire some mercenaries using treasury wealth, but we just don't have that right now. But we will do one day, but for right now we'll just rely on what we have available to us, whilst we continue to arm them and expand them via population growth and trade via the trading post. Wonderful. So it's letting a bit of time play. We are now back above that 50% approval rating, which means we should be able to get some more families in here as well. Apologies if you can hear that helicopter as well. That is in real life, not in Manor Lords. It hasn't had a advanced machinery pack added to it yet. But again, just another opportunity to thoroughly enjoy the ambience of a nighttime winter Manor Lord. Right, I hope you guys are enjoying having the day-night cycle on. I do think it adds to the ambience of the game, so I definitely want to keep it on, I think. Fantastic news, isn't it? Really fun to just watch this game unfold as you go around playing it. Cool, so I think for right now, we're just going to let things stockpile up. Fuel and food are both coming in pretty decent quantities. Although I guess we can now remove our berry deposit. Animals are starting to appear again, which is good. So let's take the berries. I mean, I guess we could also add the herb garden here as well. So herbs are a commodity, I believe, aren't they? Yeah, they're also used to cure people as well should they get sick. So it's another regional wealth addition. So I think we've got to 40% there, haven't we? So I think we'll get a herb garden. We'll add this onto the side of our forager's hut here. Hopefully now he is going to be able to start growing and delivering herbs into the town. We are getting quite a significant penalty from taxation here, more so than I've really had before. So I think what I am going to do is maybe bring this down to 17% maybe. Even go for 15 perhaps. I think I'm going to bring that tithe down as well. So I'm now running at 15% land tax and 3% tithe. That should hopefully just increase the happiness of our builders a little bit. Also got to bear in mind every time you come into Manor Lords there is variables with resources and map positioning. So not every start is going to be the same as somebody else's, you know. So coming back to our level 2 houses, in order to keep these, well, consistently happy, we also need to look at a tavern supply for them as well. So I feel like that should be the next asset we come to build here. So we could, hopefully, if there's enough room around here, place our tavern just off by the trading post, or I guess on the main road would also be pretty acceptable as well for it, wouldn't it? So we could have this about there, I reckon. Yeah, I think we'll place that there. So it's only 5 timber to build. Always find it nice to future-proof the infrastructure, as long as you've got the resources to pay for it, of course. But that should be quite nice there, I think. Another 15 gold coming in via regional wealth. That's just a constant turnover now, you know. Able to supply the tavern, they will, of course, need ale for it to function. So at the minute, I believe the only way to produce ale is via an artisan. And if we can find an upgrade for it, yes, there we go. So we can add a brewery extension to a level 2 house, which will produce ale from malt. We can either import malt ourselves, or we can grow it via fields. But of course, we know from our barley fertility, growing barley in this province is pretty much out of the question with how bad the fertility is. So in this particular scenario for this particular village, importing barley or anything to do with beer, for example, let's go for commodities. Yeah, beer is very expensive to import, so 18 as an import price. Again, there is a technology to reduce the price of these imports. The other alternative, of course, would be to purchase the crop, which means we would be paying 12 for barley. So you're paying an extra 6 coins per import there, aren't you, for the convenience of having it there. Obviously, without having to pay for the family to run the malt house either. So it's just something you've got to weigh up, I think. We're selling... Got some decent iron bar surpluses, haven't we? What else are we exporting here? Let's have a little reminder. I don't think we need to import... I guess we could keep importing large shields. I think we'll stop for right now. It's not something we need at the minute. We should have enough to defend ourselves from the raiders that are arriving in 27 days. Still happy to export the warbows. They're going to be selling for 5 coins each now, and they're pretty easy to produce because they're just going to be produced via the boyer who's using planks to make bows. So I think I wouldn't mind starting to stockpile some ale. So why don't we import ale? I would like a surplus. Let's start with 15 for right now, I think. We'll start with 15. And that will allow us to stock the tavern, which is only going to further increase the happiness of our level 2 houses over here as well. Another thing I want to upgrade pretty soon as well is going to be clothing, which is going to be via more artisans. And we're going to just set up a cobbler, so they'll be able to have shoes coming in, which will be very helpful. Cool, so we do have some new mercenary companies available. Let's have a look at those. Yeah, 90, 90, 110. They're all too expensive for us right now, so we will be relying on our local forces to defend, I think, in this time round. And here is our tavern here as well. The people will come and sit and drink beer here as well, which is tremendously satisfying. But we don't have the family to stock it yet, I don't think. Then again, we've got a ton of firewood now, haven't we? We could take a family out of the fire, the woodcutter's lodge. Planks are also pretty plentiful supplied too, so I think I'll actually reduce the saw pit. And let's put a family into the tavern here as well. Now hopefully our beer trade isn't too far away either. It's extremely handy having the trade route right here. This makes it so just common and popular for trades to keep coming and going. So there we go, it is now stocked and we can see people enjoying a pint. Although he is sat backwards, he is absolutely leathered, isn't he? There's nothing like a pint and a bowl of apples after a long day, is there? Gotta love these guys, well, literally covered in dustings of snow. You will have to forgive some early access glitching, of course, but our tavern is now open down the main road, right, on the King's Road. You can stop down here for a pint of eggs finest. So now we have the tavern supply in. That should be keeping our burgage plots extra happy. Which means we just need to rely on some more food, which hopefully we can do via trade. And then clothing as well. To keep these happy, at which point we can then turn our attention towards bringing them up to level 3. But we'll have a look at that a little later on in the series. I'm also noticing roof tiles also start to stockpile here as well. So I think we'll set up a roof tile trade. Well, we will once we can afford to buy it anyway, which is literally right now with those 3 coins. There we go. So we'll buy roof tiles. Let's establish the trade route. We will export them. They're worth 8 coins, so it's certainly nothing to shake your head at, you know. Let's bring this down to desired surplus of 50. I would always like at least 50 roof tiles in stock for, you know, upgrading our own homes and things like churches and whatnot, and to trade with other regions eventually one day as well. But for right now, we will just sell any major surplus that we have. Oh, an enemy unit has been spotted. Wonderful. So here's the bandits that are about to come and attack us. Now they should be here at any moment, really. Oh, they do, I'll see. I'll have to walk all the way across here, which is pretty far for them to come. But the important thing is they are coming, so we do need to prepare for them now. Let's come back to our town. Let's double check whether or not we do want to grab any militia. They're all too a little bit expensive for us at the minute, but our retinue and soldiers here should be able to suffice. So we'll wait for them to arrive. We can see them over there, can't we? Looks like they are slowly marching toward us. Yep, here they go. Thankfully they have spawned on the other side of the map. I'm not entirely sure if that's always the case, but they do spawn relatively far away, at least in my case here anyway. So let's bring us back to our town. We don't need to summon our men just yet, because if we do, then they're all going to leave their production jobs. I don't really want that to happen just yet. So I'm thinking of maybe importing a little bit more food variety into the town here. We've also got a larger granary over here as well now, which is storing our ale and berries, which is quite good. Good to see that coming in. Cool, so the raiders aren't too far away here now. Let's go and defend our first town, shall we? So we want to shift select all of our units and we want to tell them to rally. We'll do it here at the front of the town. And you'll now notice that all the men and boys of the town run to retrieve their equipment, which they should be storing in their homes. You can see one of our archers and one of our spearmen live here as well. And then they will gather up. So if you've ever played Total War, you will be familiar with the control mechanics here. But it's pretty simple, really, to defend a town. So right now, all these men, right, they all work in our town, and now they're all rushing to defend it, which means that your supply chains pretty much grind to a halt, because there's no one cutting wood anymore, there's no one sawing planks, no one serving beer. So rallying isn't something you want to do often and all the time. Just something to bear in mind, I think. Cool. So we are moving downhill here. Terrain does play a factor into, you know, how you can defend, so definitely worth factoring that in, I think. But let's move our most number of spears here. We've got 20 of 20 up to the front. I want my archers in the back, and we're also going to have our retinue just behind our main spear line in reserve. There is only 5 retinue. Here at the minute, I'll show you how you can actually recruit more, which you can do via your retinue tab, actually, just by coming into customize. I don't think we can do while they're rallied, but we'll talk about that in a second anyway. Either way, these are now going to move forward and try attack us. We'll fast forward time and wait for them to arrive. Yeah, I think I accidentally set my taxation too high, didn't I? And now they're refusing to forget. They really do. Remember, I'm guessing the approval system is yet to be balanced yet. It still is quite sensitive. Cool. So let's now start moving our troops up here a little bit to meet these invading bandits. Go ahead and grab all 3 of them. Of course, you can just control them by your militia menu as well. There we go. So our enemy has been spotted. If we hover over our archers, we can see that a little kind of, you know, darker blue circle emanates off them. That's just their range. So you want to make sure, obviously, they're not too far away to the point they can't shoot whoever's on the front line. But either way, we'll watch our first battle unfold here, shall we? So I'm going to come down. They're going to march over. They're extremely angry, as you can see. We now notice they're not as effective. 1, because they're running uphill, and 2, because they're attacking another town. And they're also getting shot by bows and arrows here as well, which, as you can imagine, isn't particularly comfortable, is it? So you will break them, I think, before you end up killing them, in most cases. We're now going to clash with our spear line here as well at dawn as well, right? But they're going to clash with our spear wall. And I think I'm also going to move my bows around the side here as well so they can get a better shot. And I'm also going to bring my retinue into the fight as well. So I can tell them to order by right-clicking once I've selected them, and they're going to start getting involved in the fight as well. At the same time, I'm also bringing my spears around to the side here to get a better angle on some of these bandits. Shouldn't be too long before they start firing again. There we go. So archers are really powerful in just dealing morale damage to your units. But this is it for your first fight, right? If you do have full strength mercenaries working for you here, this just goes so much better. But for right now, this should be okay. There we go. Influence gained because they've rallied. Well, 1 unit has anyway. See them all running away now. They are sort of just scared. They've lost their morale. They're fleeing. And so has the other unit there now as well. Which gives us 1.2k influence, which is very nice. Cool. So that's the fight over. Nice and simple, right? Hold the line with your spears, and then once that's done, you can shoot them with archers. Once you are finished with your first war, just select all your units again, and you want to hit this disband unit button up here at the top. Play your game. And then all of your people will go back to their jobs and their lives. And I don't think we lost a single person there, did we? I don't think we did indeed. However, what we do have now in the town is dead bodies. Our villagers are not going to like this. So we need to build a corpse pit for bodies, so you know not all deserve to be buried on consecrated ground in the church. So use this building to quickly get rid of any raider corpses. Workers will become grave diggers. So where do we want to put our corpse pit? Maybe we can have this... How about over by the mines, maybe? So our workers will do this now. We want to make this highest priority. And we want to get this done ASAP, because if you leave these bodies to sit and rot, your villagers are going to be immensely unhappy with you. Like I've said, you know, at the minute, on this build of Manor Lords, the approval system is super unforgiving, so you want to do as little as possible to annoy them. I do have some further exposed goods over here. This is just that stone storage, isn't it, refusing to be picked up here. Hopefully that will get picked up soon. And then we also have the generic storage at the logging camp also full as well, but you know, that's constantly drained out by the oxen. So we shouldn't have too much to worry about there. Approval is starting to pop back into the green now. And hopefully it's not too long before we're welcoming some people to live in these new burgage plots over here. And we do also have some further money now as well, so I would like to start introducing, I think, some larger houses where we can possibly start to explore having vegetable plots on some of them. So let's use our new fancy zoning system here. And that's a little too wide. Why don't we go for here? There we go. We'll start to surround our manor now with these new houses. There we go. So there's the bodies need burial right. It's now a warning, and they won't just despawn. They won't just disappear. They will take a little while to get there. Hopefully our grave pit has been dug. It has, so we're going to add a worker onto that, because you guys must start burying. And I'm also going to take a worker out of our woodcutter's lodge here as well, I think that should be pretty good. Besides that, we do have two families at the storehouse now. We don't currently have any hide to process, do we? No, we don't. So there's no point the tanner working at the minute, because there's nothing for him to tan. Our pub is staying stocked via the trade route. We're also continuing to make pretty decent money as well. And this is wonderful. Yeah, so those unburied bodies are now really starting to hit our approval rating. Unfortunately, we're still getting that -27 from taxation. That will hopefully just fade away with time. There we go, down to 15 buried bodies now. Hopefully they're bringing them along in the carts. Here we go, and then they bury them in the corpse. But it doesn't look like they've quite animated the corpses to actually sit on their shoulder just yet. But there we go. So we now have 1.3k influence, which is very nice. So let's come to our map view, shall we? So let's evaluate what's happened here. So we wanted to move into more fertile sort of provinces, didn't we? So why don't we take a look at our Emma fertility again? So the province to the north is still not massively fertile, to be honest, is it? Really don't want to spend a lot of time growing crops on these provinces here. The province next door to us does have more rich iron and rich wild animals, which could be quite cool. But it's a province that's pretty similar to the one we already own. And then the one next door does have two rich food resources, which is really cool. I actually wonder if we can claim this one here, because this one does have decent fertility, I believe, doesn't it? Yeah, we could turn this into our farming province. It does border against the other lord here, Hildebolt. Well, I think I can live with that, so I think I might claim Goldhoff with influence. I'm going to press a claim towards the region. Now, at this point, the other lord can decide to sort of contest that claim and try and come at me for it, or he might let me have it. I guess we'll see what happens. Looks like there's also a little bit of road already marked there on the map, isn't there? You can see, but I'm not sure what that is. But either way, we will turn gold off if indeed we can lay claim to it into our farming province. Now, it's not connected to us directly, but once we gain more influence, we should be able to claim the provinces around us a little bit more. But we'll get there eventually. At least for right now, we have, or we'll hopefully have a fertile province so we can start to grow some crops, which would be very nice and pretty good. Cool. So these Unburied bodies have now all been cleared. We should get some approval rating back from doing that as well. Burgage plots are starting to come in, which is very nice. I guess they've got these ones over here we have, haven't we? So, again, we don't have anyone living here, do we? We don't. I am going to spend some money, though, giving these guys vegetable plots, so when people do move in here, the vegetable plots are ready to go. So these are only going to cost 15, but again, are based on size. There we go. We now have claimed gold off, which is wonderful. Great news, isn't it? There we go. So gold off is ours. What we can do now, which we won't do this episode, we can use regional wealth to construct a settlers camp. And we can tell the settlers to come over here. We can tell them exactly where to settle. And then we can essentially just start again, right? But in a new province. So we'll probably do that next episode, I think. I think for right now, we will just wait for our regional wealth to take over and we'll cover settling a new province on a new episode. We've also had another bandit camp sighted as well. Let's have a look where these are on the map now. These are over to our left, actually, so not too far away from us, really. We could send our men to kill these, but after they've just fought a war, I think we'll let it take over a little bit. Our clay mine has also run dry here now as well. So I think we're going to use that as a cue to now stop trading roof tiles. People say no trade on those because currently the ones we have in stock, the 53, the ones we're going to want to use for upgrading up to level 3 burgage plots when we can afford them, but we're not quite there yet, I don't think. I think I'd also like to bring up some homes here to level 2 as well. Because I think I would actually like some of the artisans sat around the town square. I know these guys aren't too far away from the town square, especially if you kind of factor in this whole new space in here as well. But we'll find out. We are hitting insane taxation debuffs. I didn't actually enter that in, did I? Yeah, it's definitely bugged at the minute, the taxation. It's not super responsive. Just basically, just don't typo this, because if you were to accidentally leave this as, say, 35%, they will take that as you meant to tax them 35%, which makes them super unhappy. It's what's crippling my approval at the minute, is that minus 32 taxation, which we shouldn't be getting. You can see our predictive approval loss should only be minus 10. But this is an early access beta, so some gameplay bugs will be kind of prominent and stop you from really doing what you want, but it is what it is. And with that said, we do hit another settlement level, which is fantastic, isn't it? So let's see how we can further begin to specialize this district, which I can't pronounce. Basically, our home province. How can we make this a little bit more efficient? So there's foreign supplies, where we can put firewood and a food cart down, which will meet both respective needs for a passive income of regional wealth. We can also get better deals, which will remove the tariff from foreign imports. Deep mines was also something I was really interested in, but I believe deep mines are currently bugged. The people that work in them just endlessly wait, so deep mining does sound good, but for right now, I think it's not necessarily the one to follow. And then we also have sheep breeding, heavy plows, not in this province, certainly not. We've also got some more technologies here, so irrigation, fertilization, bakeries as well, produces twice the amount of bread from the communal oven. Again, we're not really involved in farming in this province, so any points here for me are pretty wasted. We could also get trapping as well, because we are relying quite heavily on the hunter and the gatherer for berries and meat. Having just a passive income of meat from the hunter might be quite nice for the food supply, actually. But having said that, being able to reduce all trade agreements, this is definitely our trading province, isn't it? Being able to reduce all import prices by 10 gold is a pretty big win. You know, we could be importing, say, meat for 2 gold, which is as much as we can sell it for, which is super useful. Same with commodities and military as well. All this comes down by 10, which is really quite enticing, I think, actually, because we rely so much on trade in this province. So I think we are going to do that. I think we're going to get better deals to remove the tariff from foreign imports, effectively reducing all import prices by 10. That seems like a good one to follow, I think. So if we come back to our trade here now. Let me see, yeah, look how cheap everything is now. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? Although it has actually removed the import price entirely, which is a little odd. Let's find out something we want to import here, really. Let's try and put a bit of meat, for example. Oh, I guess it's just, was it just 2 now for both import and export price, is it? I think it is, isn't it? I think that's what it's showing us there. So essentially it's the same price to both import and export now with that technology. I think we'll also use this opportunity as well as an excuse to relocate our forestry stuff now. So I'm going to move the logging camp into a new heavily forested area. Let's go for there, for example. And the same with our woodcutters lodge as well. We are going to relocate you. I think there's another little bit of forest. I wouldn't mind clearing out this bit here. Granted, without destroying the berry deposits, because your foresters will destroy plants and bushes. So really want to make sure we don't deforest the bushes there, because that's the backbone of our food economy at the minute. And then our saw pit also wants to be relocated too. I think I'm going to put this back over next to our forestry camp over here, logging camp even. And yeah, that should all be good. These guys will now move those leftover resources. And let's make sure we have appropriate road connections for our oxen to connect into the new forestry area. In both sides here. Cool. Now let's come back into our road tool, and when we hold Alt, we can start to delete some roads here. This will just allow us to reform exactly where this little bit of town is heading. So you accidentally deleted it all the way back here. So we can just pair this like so. And then similar to what we did with those other roads, so let's just kind of have them all head down here now. Really start to map out the rest of the town. Fabulous. So now we can start expanding more homes and houses around here now. There we go. It's like our approval is finally starting to balance here. I've brought taxes back down to 0. Just because they were so angry. At minus 30 taxation is definitely a bug. I think upon release of the game, the thing that needs to be pretty much patched straight away or just balanced a little bit more is that approval rating. But definitely starting to pop up now on workers, which is very nice indeed. Hopefully they are starting to arrive over here as well, whilst that approval rating's nice and high. I think where we do have some spare workers, let's go ahead and get some more workers down at the mine. The corpse pit is fine anymore. This mining pit can be demolished. It's no longer needed, since we've extracted all of the clay out of it now. Now let's go ahead and check out our new workers resources lodges here. So the woodcutters lodge can come deforest pretty much this area right over the building, and then the same with our logging camp as well. Let's get 2 people back working here, and we want to really stretch out their work radius, and they can start to deforest this entire section here, I think, ready for eventual expansion in probably a couple of years in-game time, I think, before we get over there. But it is now starting to map out our area a little bit more here too. And I think we'll also use the erase shrubbery bush here as well. We can start getting rid of all this thick vegetation and undergrowth, where we can start to build more buildings over here as well. Fantastic. Awesome. So we've got 6 timber. Let's go ahead and make this guy. You're too small for an artisan, aren't you? That's okay though. We'll add them over here. So let's have one that doesn't already have a chicken coop in it. How are we doing for food at the minute? Yeah, those eggs are starting to cook in now. These are all level 1 down here. The fletcher shop. I'll tell you what, let's put the cobbler's workshop next door to the Fletcher's workshop. That way we can have 2 kind of artisan stores here. And then every other level 2 after that. These guys do want... We can also upgrade living space here as well. Yeah, let's expand that living space for them. Cool. So we'll start getting all these up to level 2. Yeah, I think these ones here... I guess we could delete the ones at the back. Are the people living here yet? No, there's not. No, it's fine. I think we'll keep it as it is. We'll just keep these houses as they are. New families starting to move in now as well, which is fantastic to see, isn't it? Hopefully not too long before some new markets start to pop up as well. Because we have a fair amount of iron ore at the minute, and we're only really processing that into iron slabs, aren't we, via the smithy. No, the smithy is for tools, is it? Let me just double check that. Yeah, so I think I want to add a family into the smithy now that we built last episode, just to start refining the iron ore into tools. Because tools are also really good to sell, and they'll be used for upgrades further down the line as well. Look at this busy little town centre that's starting to manifest now around the trading post and the tavern, right? It's a lot of fun. A lot of fun, this game. Thank you for all the lovely words and comments as well. It's really nice to see you guys enjoying some other content on the channel as well, so appreciate you all for that, I really do. Vegetable plots in the back garden here now as well will be planted up with veg once we have people to come and live here. But otherwise, we are in a much better state, I think, than when we left it. Which probably feels like a good place, in all honesty, to leave the episode there. If we can enjoy a little walk around the town here. Let's have a little check where we are. Yes, I think we will leave it there, guys. Thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed it, likes, comments, and shares below. It really do help the channel to grow. And don't forget to subscribe if you are new and enjoying all the content on the channel. There's plenty more Manor Lords to come over the years as this game develops and finds its feet. But hopefully today you've learned how your first raid is really not that intimidating, as long as you've set up those initial militia and imported them some extra weapons like we did with that trading post. We got those spears, remember, we're also making our own bows here now in the village as well. And then you really will be fine. And then of course the approval rating or the approval system. At the minute, look at these guys wheeling the ale into the house. That's so cool. Isn't that just fabulous? There we go. There goes the barrels of ale. Yeah, that approval system I think definitely needs a little bit of tweaking. It's super sensitive to taxation at the minute. So if you do find yourself on launch struggling with taxation, just bring it back down again. And you will be able to hopefully just pacify them and then just kind of reset that negative approval rating, because it can be quite volatile. I've struggled with it a few times across different saves now. But upgraded our storehouse and our granary and started to get lots more families in where we can really start to flesh out our production chains. Now we have that family surplus in the village, and I think next episode we will take a look at colonizing and then specializing our second province on the map, because of course we have laid claim to Goldhof now using our regional influence. Massive shout out to all the patrons that support the channel. If you're interested in getting involved in the channel a bit more, Instant Gaming and Patreon are the best ways for you to do that, both linked down below. Otherwise, I'd like to thank you all so much indeed for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.